This is Yair Davidiy, speaking to you from the land of Israel. I represent Brit-Am, an organization that searches the whereabouts of lost 10 tribes. We have found them amongst Western peoples. And this is what we do. We search for where the lost 10 tribes are, and we have found them, and we bring proofs of this, and we confirm the evidence, and we enforce it with additional factors, with additional proofs and truths. And we bring them this knowledge to as many people as are prepared to listen to it, and we think it is important, and that it concerns the future of all the peoples of Israel, above the Jews and the non-Jews who descend from Israelites amongst Western nations. And there is an urgency that this knowledge should be spread to as far and as much as possible. And in addition to this, we also study the Bible. We hold Bible studies, especially concerning the physical characteristics, certain aspects of the tribe, certain aspects of biblical personalities that help us in our general search and identification of the tribes today. At present, we are concerned with the tribe of Benjamin. Benjamin was destined to stay with Judah. What happened? We had 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel were in the land of Israel. At first they were ruled by King Saul, then by King David, then by King Solomon. After Solomon came Rehoboam in English. The time of Rehoboam, 10 of the northern tribes separated. They separated and they created their own kingdom. They were led by Jeroboam. In Hebrew, Jeroboam, he was son of Nabat, and he led the tribe of Ephraim and all of the other tribes, and they set up their own kingdom separate from that of Judah. And after a while they were conquered by the Assyrians, taken into exile, and lost consciousness of their ancestry. They became the lost 10 tribes. Meanwhile, in the south, the tribe of Judah and Benjamin were together, and they were united in one kingdom, kingdom of Judah, and their border came together in the city of Jerusalem. The city of Jerusalem straddled their border, where their border would have been if the city of Jerusalem had been divided. As it was united, and there the two tribes, Benjamin and Judah, were united in one kingdom. So a good portion of the Jewish people, a significant portion of the Jewish people, are descended from the tribe of Benjamin. The others are descended from Judah, others from Levi, and minority representatives of all the other tribes. Nevertheless, Benjamin is important in Judah. Apart from that, there were elements from Benjamin who were taken away together with the 10 tribes, or somehow or other ended up together with them. And they became important. We find them in different areas. For instance, the Belgae of history. They were in Belgium, they were in southeast England, they were in Ireland, and other peoples like them or aligned with them were, to some degree, according to our studies, descended from Benjamin. And so too the Normans who conquered England in 1066. They'd come from Scandinavia, but they'd been as distinct people before then. And they too, to some degree, were also descended from Benjamin. So these studies have importance to everyone, to all of us. Now, amongst the tribe of Benjamin, we had the first king of Israel, Saul. When the Israelites came out of Egypt, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Then they entered the land of Israel, and they conquered the land of Israel under Joshua from the tribe of Ephraim. The second in command of Joshua was Caleb from the tribe of Judah, and together they conquered the land and divided it amongst the tribes. After them came a period of judges, when Israel was ruled by judges, and following the period of judges, we had Samuel, the last judge, the last prophet in the period of judges. After Samuel came Saul from the tribe of Benjamin, and after Saul came David, the son of Jesse, from the tribe of Judah. After David came Solomon, who built the temple in Jerusalem. After Solomon came Rehoboam, in whose time 10 of the northern tribes seceded. They separated, they set up their own kingdom, they were led by Jeroboam. and then they were taken into exile and became the lost 10 tribes of Israel. And they are the ones we search for, and they are the ones we are usually concerned with. But today we're discussing more the tribe of Benjamin, and this still reflects upon our general studies. Saul had a son named Jonathan, and Jonathan was also a hero. He was a great man, he was a warrior, he was a friend of David. And both Saul and Jonathan were destined to be prototypes, according to the commentators, of the future Messiah, son of Joseph. Just to remind you, we have in the Bible several times mentions a descendant of Jesse, a descendant of David, who will come, who will initiate great things to bring on the Messianic era. He will be the Messiah, son of David. He will cause the Jews to return with repentance. He will rebuild the temple. He will reunify the Jews with the 10 tribes of Israel, and he will set in process a whole series of actions and policies. He will defeat the enemies of Israel, and then he will cause all of the peoples of the earth to worship the one true God and to make obeisance to Jerusalem, follow directions from Jerusalem, and there will be a period of peace and prosperity throughout the earth. That is what the Messiah, son of David, before he appears, or according to different opinions, just as he begins to appear, he will be preceded. There will come before him a Messiah, son of Joseph, who in a sense will prepare the way for him. The Messiah, son of Joseph, will lead the 10 tribes, and he will help Judah to rebuild the land, to resettle the Jews in the land, to be free of their persecution, and he will build up the material framework for the Messiah, son of David, who will come after him. So in a sense, Saul represents that. Saul was destined to be the first king of Israel. Saul was from the tribe of Benjamin. And Saul defeated the enemies of Israel, and he made war against all of the enemies around Israel, so that none of them dared attack Israel. And he prepared the kingdom for David, who would come after him. So Saul, in a sense, represents a prototype of the Messiah, son of Joseph, and this is of concern to us, is of interest to us, because the Messiah, son of Joseph, is destined to lead the 10 tribes. So one thing leads to another, and it all ties in. It's all of value. And we find Saul to be not only a prototype of the Messiah, son of Joseph, but also of Benjamin, of the whole tribe of Benjamin. One source says that Saul was a reincarnation, a Gilgal of Benjamin, the father of the Israelite tribe of Benjamin. However you take it, believe it, don't believe it, accept it, it doesn't really matter. What it's coming to say is that Saul exemplified, he personalized, he encapsulated something about the tribe of Benjamin in his own personality. By studying this personality, we can learn something about Benjamin in general. Rabbi Zadok Kohen from Lublin, he said that the first time someone or something is mentioned in the Bible, this encapsulates his whole personality. And there is a pasuk concerning someone from Benjamin called a man of Benjamin, who's identified with Saul. And so from this we see that Saul, the whole being of Saul, was a man of Benjamin, Benjamin, a man from Benjamin. The story of Saul actually begins with Samuel. Samuel the judge. He came before Saul, but he led the way for Saul. He was to play an important part in the early history of Saul and of Israel. Samuel was the son of Elkanah and Hannah from the tribe of Levi. He was a Levite. And he dwelt in the area of Ephraim, in the district of Zoph. And when he was weaned, his mother brought him up to the temple. His mother brought him up to the tabernacle, which was in Shiloh, in the territory of Ephraim, where Eli the Cohen officiated. And Samuel stayed there, and he assisted Eli, and he grew up there. When Eli got old, the two sons of Eli, they were also Cohens, also officials, and they were just misbehaving. They were not conducting themselves as they should do. And this brought the temple and the priesthood in general into disrepute. And Eli was several times reproved by God because of this. He was warned that he would be punished for this, but he apparently did not heed them, or he did not have control over them. Whatever the case, he was, as if to say, considered liable for their behaviour in some way. Meanwhile, the Philistines began to make war against the Israelites. It says in 1 Samuel 4, the Israelites, it says in 1 Samuel 4, it says 1 Samuel 4 verse 1, the Israelites camped at Ebenezer and the Philistines at Ephek. The Philistines deployed their forces to meet Israel, and as the battle spread, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 of them on the battlefield. And so it was decided to send the Ark of the Covenant from Shiloh, that was from the tabernacle in Shiloh, to help the Israelites wage war. Now, we are told in 1 Samuel 4:3, when the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel asked, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the Ark of the Lord's Covenant from Shiloh, so that he may go with us and save us from the hand of our enemies." So the people sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord Almighty, who was enthroned between the cherubim, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Pinchas, were there until the Ark of the Covenant of God. So the ark is another name, was actually a long rectangular box, made of a type of wood, acacia wood, and it was had a gold inside and gold outside, and then a kind of lid of gold over it, and above that there were two cherubims, two types of angels with their wings spread above it, and the divine presence would come down and speak to Moses from that place, and that was the Ark of the Covenant. In addition to that, there was the Ark of the Testimony, according to most opinions. So we actually had two arks. One was the Ark of the Covenant, the other was the Ark of the Testimony. And the Ark of the Testimony was the ark that was used to go out with them to battle. And when they travelled in the wilderness, as the Bible tells us in the book of Numbers, when the Israelites travelled through the wilderness, the ark used to go before them. That is the Ark of the Testimony, where the Ark of the Covenant remained in the tabernacle, or remained by the tabernacle. When the Israelites in the time of Eli had decided to go out to battle with the Ark, they decided not to take the Ark of the Testimony that had always used to go before them, but rather to take the Ark of the Covenant, which had previous to that always remained in the tabernacle. Probably forbidden for them to take it out, but nevertheless they took it out, and it was captured by the Philistines. The Philistines, the Hebrews were defeated. They lost 30,000 warriors. The ark was captured by the Philistines. The sons of Eli, the Cohen, Hophni and Pinchas, they were killed. When Eli was told what had happened of the defeat of Israel and the death of his sons and the capture of the ark, he fell backwards, he broke his neck, and he died. The Philistines kept the ark for 7 months, but they suffered severe calamities because of it. They placed it in a carriage drawn by 2 cows, and as they being advised by their priests, they took the ark, because of the ark, wherever the ark was, had the ark with them, they bring it from one city to another, wherever they took it. Disasters came upon them, so they decided to get rid of it. It was bringing them trouble. But so they consulted with their priests, and they put the ark on a carriage drawn by 2 cows that had recently given birth. The logic was that cows who have given birth always want to stay in the whereabouts, in the neighbourhood of their offspring, so they wouldn't go far if it was a natural event. But if it was something supernatural in all that was going on, they might show it, and they did, because as soon as the cows were let loose, they went straight to the Israelite side. So they went on their own. straight to the Israelite settlement of Beth-Shemesh, and they were there in Beth-Shemesh. From in Beth-Shemesh, they were taken to different places in Judah until in the time of David. David took the ark up into Jerusalem, where Solomon built the temple, and the ark was placed in the Holy of Holies in Jerusalem. So we had two arks. In effect, we had two arks. Two sacred boxes, similar in appearance, one to the other, but with different functions, different laws concerning them, different levels of, and different purposes attached to them. And these two arks, as well as other appurtenances of the temple and other temple treasures, according to the Midrash Tanchuma, they were buried in underneath the Temple Mount, in the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount, on which the temple is built, is riddled with tunnels and caverns and caves, wherever, all over the place. So they were buried, hidden somewhere there. That was even before the first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians. Later it was destroyed again by the Romans, and the Romans destroyed a good portion of the Temple Mount. They dug it up, and according to some versions, they took the treasures and everything they found with them back to Rome. The Ethiopians claim that one of the arks is in Ethiopia, but this is not. This seems to be not reliable. But there was a good chance that one of the arks was in Rome, and the Vandals, when they raided and plundered Rome in 455 CE, they are said to have taken the treasures. They took them back to North Africa. The Vandals at that time had come from what is now Poland. They moved through Europe into France. From France they moved into Spain. They had an outpost in Galatia, northwest Spain, and from there they went to North Africa. And they had taken the ark back with them to North Africa. Shortly afterwards, the Byzantines from the East Roman Empire, from what is now Turkey, Istanbul, they attacked the Vandals in North Africa, and they took some of the treasures with them. According to reports, this is also discussed in the Encyclopedia Judaica, took some of the treasures back with them. Then they in turn suffered defeats at the hand of the Goths, who took them from them. So that these treasures are somewhere in Europe, according to that version. Another version says that before the Byzantine, between the Vandals attacking Rome and taking back the treasures, and then the Byzantines coming and attacking them, a good portion of the Vandals in North Africa and also in northwest Spain, they moved to Ireland. This is reflected in different sources. They moved to Ireland, and from Ireland, some of them, or a portion of them, moved to England, or to Britain, to be more exact, to Scotland and northern England and that area. And they may have taken the treasures, some of the temple treasures with them, including the Ark of the Covenant, either to Ireland or to Britain, and they may still be there. This is a possibility that should perhaps be considered. Getting back to the beginning of our story, when the Philistines fought against the Israelites, and they captured the ark, we are told in 1 Samuel 4:10, so the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The Ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Pinchas, died. That same day, a Benjaminite, in Hebrew, a man, Ish Benjamin, a man of Benjamin, literally. He ran from the battle line, and he went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head, and he came to Shiloh, and this was quite an athletic feat. This was quite an accomplishment. Aphek is on a low-lying area. Shiloh is a higher area. It is between. It's debated exactly how far the distance was between them, where Aphek exactly was, where Shiloh exactly was. But a good estimate say it was at least 35 kilometers, with differences in heights. And some say it was much more than that, very much more than that. At all events, it was quite an athletic accomplishment for someone to run all that way, which is what the man of Benjamin did. And we shall see that the Benjaminites were known as being athletic. as athletically accomplished, being good runners, good shots with the sling and the bow, great warriors, and so this is worth noting. They always even had their own way, their own style of running, which people who saw someone running in the distance could determine if that person was a Benjaminite or not. So this too is of interest. And so it says this man of Benjamin came to Eli in Shiloh, told him what had happened, and Eli fell over and broke his neck. So this man of Benjamin, according to tradition, was none other than Saul. Saul before he became king. So Saul is defined as a man of Benjamin. This brings us to the principle mentioned by Rabbi Zadok Cohen from Lublin, that he lived in 1823 to 1900. Is quite recent, but he was an important rabbi. He wrote an important commentary on the Bible. He also frequently speaks of the lost 10 tribes and of Messiah, son of Joseph, as well as Messiah, son of David. He's an important source, an interesting source. And he said that when something or someone is mentioned in the Bible, the first time it is mentioned, that is the most important. The mention of the person or the object in the Bible, the first time it appears, sums up what it is. And this person is Saul. Saul was the man of Benjamin. Saul was defined as a man of Benjamin. He personifies the essence of Benjamin. He encapsulates what Benjamin is. This is reflected in the literature, the commentaries. One authority even understands that Saul was an incarnation, a reincarnation of Benjamin, the forefather of his tribe, Benjamin, the forefather of the tribe of Benjamin. So you can take it or leave it. It may not be so the case, but it does reflect that there was something about Saul that tells us about the tribe of Benjamin in general. So this is important. So we shall return to these points in the continuation of this series, discussing the tribe of Benjamin and the personality of Benjamin and the people who descend from Benjamin and everything about them. And incidentally, as we go along, we also learn a lot about biblical events in general and other matters that are of interest to us and of our importance, that we will discover and that will be revealed through the commentators, through our own studies. And this is worthwhile learning and following and being informed of. May the Lord God of Israel bless you and help you, and help us, help all of the Israelite nation and all of the tribes of Israel. Thank you.